Hello, everybody. Good morning and good afternoon from where you all are joining in. We're excited to get kicked off shortly. We'll give everyone a few moments to log in, but if anybody wants to share in the chat where you're dialing in from and say hello, it's always a nice part to kick off the conversation today.
I just love
Hello,
that
Qatar.
back.
Welcome.
Love that
Istanbul.
background
Yeah, this is
library.
fantastic. And what time is it all for you there? Mornings, afternoons? Oh, good morning. Love that, Alexia. Our office is in the meatpacking district. I'm working from home today. I wish it was the background that you see there, but it's a cold, brisk morning here in good old New Jersey. This is great. We're all over the globe here. Fantastic. Awesome. Okay, let's get started. And this will be recorded and we'll share it with everybody after. But welcome and thank you all for taking the time to join us today and talking about therapy and coaching, which we believe is really one of the most important components to any well-being strategy. And the well-being strategy encompasses all different elements, but therapy and coaching really bring that all together. So, a bit of housekeeping before we start. So, we reserve some time at the end for some Q&A. But if you have any questions throughout, please feel free to drop them in the chat, and we'll do our best to get to them throughout the presentation. For any questions we don't get to, we'll be sure to include them in the follow-up, where we'll also include a copy of today's deck, as well as any helpful materials that might be beneficial for you all to look over and share with your teams. What I always like to do for these webinars is keep them conversational. And really just make sure you all are leaving here with the information you need to go back to your organizations and really take that step forward in supporting your people. So again, thank you all for joining today. Um, those of us that'll be speaking today. So a quick introduction. I am It's a pleasure to be joined by two of our colleagues here. Becky and myself will be leading the conversation, and then we also invited Jessica, who is from Entain, who's a current and long-term client of Unmind, who will be sharing her experience in not only working with Unmind, but also the impact we've had across Entain, what's working, what's not, and how they continue to enhance their offering to their people. So. I'll kick off and then hand it over to Becky. My name is Marco Capizzoli. I'm a senior well-being consultant at Unmind. I also work with our strategic partnerships and work alongside our broker and consultant partners. I was actually employee number two when we opened up our North America office back in 2020, where we were a point solution that supplemented EAP offerings. We were an offering that allowed users to measure, understand, and nurture their mental health. And it's been such an incredible journey over the last 5 or so years to see us evolve into a full spectrum mental health platform where we're not only just focusing on the proactive preventative side of mental health, which is our primary focus, but now we can also support those who might need that clinical acute care in whether that's crisis support, critical incident support, or really just helping kind of get through struggles that they may be having. I grew up in a traditional Italian family. I was first generation here in the US. Grew up in sport, had the opportunity to play professional sport, and spent the last 10 years in the employee well-being and benefit space. And what brought me to Unmind was really our unique approach to well-being. At every organization, whether that was in professional sport or in corporate America, when we thought about well-being, we always waited until we were in crisis. And when I was doing research, looking for a new role, it really stood out to me, Unmind's approach of, hey, let's support employees more upstream before they reach that point of crisis. So similar to how we brush our teeth in the morning to avoid going to a dentist, we want to start kind of shifting the way we think about mental health. And it's been an absolute pleasure to be having these conversations every single day. So excited to walk you through the platform. And Becky, over to you.
Thanks, Marco. Hello from a rather grey, rainy London today. I wish I was on the beach that Marco looks like he might be at. I wish. So I am a Mind's head of global care, and my role is to ensure that the organisations we partner with have access to high quality, safe, and effective mental health support for their employees, so employees can perform their best at work. I'm an accredited cognitive behavioral therapist, and for the past 15 years, I've worked in the UK National Health Service and in two leading digital health providers, holding senior leadership positions. And this experience has really given me a deep understanding of what excellent care looks like and how to support people from all different walks of life. And this is what I bring to Unmind, ensuring that the people that use our platform get personalized and impactful care wherever they are in the world.
Thanks, Becky. And we'll hold Jessica's introduction for her segment at the end of the conversation. So, to kick us off, we wanted to ask about why everyone here is joining today's session, whether that's, hey, I use Unmind Therapy and Coaching and want to build on that, whether you're considering therapy and coaching or exploring new solutions, or you're just here to learn and kind of get inspired. So, if you don't mind kind of clicking that, and then we'll share the results later on. Fantastic. Okay, so a lot of us here to learn and get inspired, which is exactly what we hope to do. So we hope to inspire you and kind of share the information on why therapy and coaching is so important. So first, to kind of kick things off, we put together a few slides to set the stage on why therapy and coaching is such a critical offering in today's corporate environment. And I'm sure we'd all agree that workplace change and transformations are at an all-time high. Whether that's to perform, to pivot, or to recover, these transformations are showing no signs of slowing down. And we have global instability, economic shifts, and AI really reshaping the world of work. Yet one critical blind spot threatens every company's transformation, and that's the human capacity to enact change. So we're pouring millions of dollars into strategy with firms like McKinsey, Bain, and PwC, and even more into AI and technology. But how much of that budget goes to supporting the mental health of the people who will actually execute that strategy and use the technology? So, whilst change creates opportunity, its impact is human and it really can't be overlooked. So, we're asking people to deliver more and adapt faster despite already being stretched to their limits. And here we have a 12-year study released last year in 2024 of 50,000 workers that found organizational change sharply increases physical and mental health risks. So depression's rising by 82%, burnout by 66%, and millions of dollars are lost every single year in productivity. So simply put, change without human support is a critical business risk. So what do we do with this truth? How do we maximize adaptability, resilience, and performance without sacrificing the well-being of our people? And to be honest, there's a bunch we can do, right? Whether that's tailored communications, manager training, sharing real stories, or aspirational content. But one of the most important things we can do with the greatest and most immediate impact is to meet people where they are and give them that space to talk. Therapy and coaching isn't just about working through depression, anxiety, and stress. Yes, it can certainly be used for that, but it's about leveraging a qualified, unbiased professional to help us navigate life, both inside and outside of work, to bounce ideas off of, to understand and overcome fears, build confidence, to achieve specific goals, or really just to vent. And therapy and coaching is where your overall strategy becomes human. When employees can quickly and easily find, book, and meet with practitioners who specialize in what they need most, well-being evolves from being just an initiative into real support with lasting impact. So now, before we dive into a demonstration of how unmined users can access the right care at the right time within 4 clicks, Becky's going to talk a bit about Unmind's approach to therapy and coaching and how we've overcome the challenges around quality, diversity, and accessibility that many of our organizations face with the more traditional EAP models. So I'll pass it over to you now, Becky.
Thanks, Marco. Yeah, I guess before we dive into the details, let's take a step back and think about why therapy and coaching matter for your people and for the business. So, for organizations, the impact is clear and measurable. When people have fast, easy access to high quality care, we see reduced absenteeism, improved productivity, and a proven return on investment. And at Unmind, we see a 4.6 times ROI when therapy and coaching are combined with digital tools. But beyond that number is the human care. And therapy and coaching make support truly global and accessible and personal. And this is where strategy becomes human, where we've got measurable business outcomes met with meaningful human impact. So for therapy and coaching to truly deliver and bring these business outcomes, the network behind it has to be exceptional. And that's where our approach stands out. Too often, the traditional EAPs, they have maybe a limited range of therapists and counselors, often generic counseling with limited cultural fit, maybe no choice. You might be allocated someone who doesn't necessarily meet your needs or preferences. And it can be hard to access care. There might be forms to complete or specific criteria that you have to meet before you can talk to somebody, which leads to poor utilization and essentially people not getting the care they deserve or need. So, our goal is to ensure that employees get the expert, personalized care exactly when they need it. And our network is based around 3 pillars. So, firstly, quality. So, we have a network of high quality practitioners who offer safe, effective, and ethical care. Diversity, we have a diverse group of practitioners with representation across ethnicities, genders, identities. So every employee can find a practitioner that feels right for them. And lastly, accessibility, care that's available globally, quickly and easily. So we'll dig into each of these pillars in a bit more detail. So firstly, quality. We really take quality seriously. So from the vetting process that all of our practitioners go through, all of their applications are carefully reviewed. They undergo a rigorous multi-step vetting process, and we verify their advanced level qualifications. Most of our practitioners have masters, PhDs. We ensure that they hold an active state license or accreditation from a recognized professional body or state. We ensure that they have training in evidence-based interventions that truly work, as well as professional insurance, clinical supervision, coaching supervision, and continued professional development. Once our practitioners are approved, ready to work with us, we don't just give them a login, we give them a thorough onboarding experience to make sure they really understand how we work at Unmind and that they're fully aligned with our standards and policies, everything from risk management to continuity of care. We offer welcome calls, a comprehensive handbook, and an online help centre for them, as well as ongoing engagement through newsletters. We offer training, webinars, and support for them. And also, what's important is we pay our practitioners market rate. So, this means that we recruit the best practitioners and support them so they can be the best for our clients. And then our commitment to quality doesn't just end after onboarding. We continuously monitor our practitioners' performance through a range of metrics and gather user feedback, and we support them to improve. And we know, as you can see from the stats on that right-hand side, that our users are happy with and trust our network. 4.8 out of 5 satisfaction and confidence rating with practitioners. And we see our users go back and continue to have sessions with their practitioners, which is great. And our commitment to quality is paired with an equally strong commitment to diversity and choice. So when you're managing a large organization, you need a network that's as global and as diverse as your workforce, one that's going to work for all of employees wherever they are. So we have over 90,000 practitioners, counselors, psychologists, social workers across over 140 different countries, and who speak over 60 different languages, a representation across genders, LGBTQ plus identities. And we recruit local practitioners who truly understand the cultural nuances and the social context of where they're based, so that they can deliver culturally relevant, responsive care that's going to best support individuals' needs, no matter their cultural background and experiences. We also use in-country experts to ensure that the training, licensure, regulatory requirements in each country, that we understand that and recruit the practitioners who are aligned. And we believe in providing meaningful choice. So using our platform, employees can choose their own practitioner. So they can choose someone who meets their needs, their preferences, their language, and that's really important. So employees can choose somebody that they feel is going to understand them, and that's going to help them to connect with that person and really see positive outcomes through the sessions that they have. And we've built our network with an emphasis on quality, diversity, but also speed. We know that timely access to care is important for employees and, of course, for your business. So quick access means reduced absenteeism and presenteeism. So we made the process really easy, and people can, on average, see a practitioner within 48 hours and with 4 clicks to book. And that level of accessibility we know really matters. If you're struggling on a Monday morning coming into work, you can be talking to a qualified professional by Wednesday, somebody in your own language who truly understands you to help you. So, result, our network, we've got a clinically rigorous, high quality, culturally inclusive, and instantly accessible network that's trusted by employees all around the world. And our therapy and coaching really works. So using clinically validated tools, so we use the PHQ-9 for depression, the GAD-7 for anxiety, we track real change across our users globally. And you can see from the top graphs there that we're seeing significant reductions in both anxiety and depression symptoms. So 41% reduction in anxiety and 37% reduction in low mood symptoms after just 7 sessions with one of our practitioners. So it means that people are getting support, and they're getting better. And this also has an impact on the organization. So on the bottom two graphs, you can see that there's a weekly reduction in absenteeism, people that use our services, and a 13% uplift in productivity per week after just 7 sessions. So that's the power of combining quality, diversity, and access at scale. Therapy and coaching, they don't just change individual lives, but it can transform organizations as well. And that's exactly what we're here to do. So, Marco, pass over to you to give us a demo of the platform, what it actually looks like.
Yeah, sure thing. Thank you so much, Becky. And now I am going to switch over to the Unmind platform. Can I just get a thumbs up, Becky? Can everyone see the screen? Perfect. Awesome. So before I kind of walk through the experience from the Unmind platform, I'd like to open the floor for anybody that wants to share if they've had an experience with booking therapy or coaching through their organization. If you want to come off mute, I'm not sure if anybody can or share in the chat. That's probably the best bet on what that process looks like. And I can share mine to kick us off. So, my first bout with ill mental health came back in probably 2011, where I reached out to my manager after struggling for months in silence, and everybody was realizing that something was off. But again, I grew up in a traditional Italian family. We didn't talk about mental health. I was raised thinking that what I had to do was put my head down, fight through it, and everybody's doing the same thing when that wasn't the case. But when I reached out for help, I was kind of left hanging. I had to reach out to my manager to get the contact information for the EAP. Then I reached out and I was bombarded with a bunch of questions, the PHQ-9, GAD-7, Core 34, to be qualified to be able to speak to somebody. And then I received a spreadsheet of in-network providers that I had to reach out to. And when I did that, I found that most of them had a wait list. So now I'm in crisis. I waited probably 3 to 6 months too long before I reached out. And now I'm told that I have to wait another month or so. And that was really debilitating for me. And to be honest, I gave up. I found other ways to cope and I never went through with that process. So now having such quick and easy access really changes the game. So for users on Unmind, when they come onto the platform, they can either talk to our AI agent and coach and say, "Hey, I'm struggling and I need to speak to somebody." And it'll bring them to this book page where there's two different options to find the right fit for a therapist or coach. The first one is AI practitioner matching. This, where we see across our book of business for individuals who might not know who they need to speak to, they could come in and answer a few questions like, "Hey, what are we using therapy and coaching for?" And I could say, "I am having crippling anxiety and struggling at work. What's important to me is that I'm led by my therapist and coach. I want to improve my focus and I want to challenge my beliefs and behaviors." And it asks where I'm located and what language I speak primarily. And it's going to give me two of the practitioners on the network that might fit my need. But for individuals, if I go to browse more, can search through the entire network. But I'm not just kind of searching blindly or calling phone numbers on a spreadsheet. I can say, okay, I speak English and Spanish. Right now, I'm suffering from crippling anxiety and I'm dealing with a sudden loss of a loved one. If I know what approach has worked for me in the past, great, I can click that. If not, I can keep it blank. And now I can scroll through the practitioners in this network and click on any of them. And clicking here on Emily, I can learn about Emily, her experience, languages she speaks, focus areas. They answer a few questions. And then I can book a session directly from the platform. Across our book of business over the last 4 years, we've seen an average of less than 48 hours to the first session. So now I don't have to talk to another human. I don't have to reach out to my manager. And maybe, again, we want a psychologically safe work environment, but some of us are hesitant and still feel that, hey, if I reach out, are they going to think that I'm not fit to work or I'm not qualified to do this job, or I might feel a little bit of that stigma still. Now, without talking to anybody or answering extensive questions, I can select a time that works for me, inform that practitioner on what's really important and what I want to focus on, and then book that session. And I'll have a calendar reminder come up on the platform as well as in my work calendar, and you'll receive 24 hours and 1 hour notices for that session. We also provide some support in helping you prepare for that session. For a lot of employees and individuals, it's going to be their first time. It's um, it can cause some anxiety, some worry. Hey, what do I have to expect? Here's some quick videos that we share on what to expect in that first session and get people comfortable there. So that is the quick overview of how Unmind users can access that therapy and coaching. And now I want to share and welcome Jess to the conversation, where Unmind is the number one choice for high performing multinational organizations because we were strategically designed to be global from day one. Where many platforms are built around US centric healthcare models, Unmind was built to serve the diverse, complex realities of organizations like Unilever, Uber, and Entain. And we could spend all day telling you about the impact of Unmind, but the most compelling story is going to come directly from our client partners to truly understand what it's like to work with us, the results we deliver. And we're thrilled today to be joined by longtime client and true expert in the field, Jessica Fitzjohn, who's the Group Senior Wellbeing Manager at Entain. And as a licensed psychological safety trainer and certified well-being coach, Jessica brings a deep expert perspective on employee wellness. So, Jessica, welcome and thank you again for joining. Please feel free to add any more about your experience and anything else that you might think would be helpful for our audience to know. Over to you.
Thanks for the intro, Marco. So, hi everyone. I am Jess. I have over 10 years experience in the sports betting and gaming industry, and I've had the opportunity to wear many hats, as Marco has pointed out. But for the past 6 years, I've been supporting the wellbeing agenda at Entain. A bit about Entain. So, we are a global leader in sports betting and gaming. We operate online and across our retail betting shops, and we have around 30,000 employees across 20 different countries around the world. Our approach to well-being comes to life through our well-being strategy. The strategy is designed to help colleagues at Entain make positive changes to support their physical, mental, and emotional health. The strategy is supported from the top of the business, and part of our strategy is our program. And our program has 3 pillars. So we have Think Well, which is around our mental and emotional health. We have Live Well, which is about our physical health. And we have Work Well, which is workplace culture and environment. So over the past few years, wellbeing at Entain has been quite through a journey. A few years back, we recognized that we needed to be more tailored to our people's needs to evolve our program. We already had strong foundations in place, as mentioned, the program, but we just needed to be tailored. So we partnered with Robertson Cooper, who are workplace wellbeing specialists, to run a company-wide survey to assess the full ecosystem of health and wellbeing at Entain. So what we found is that when people have regular conversations with their manager, they showed lower levels of burnout. So just under half of our people said that their managers talk to them about well-being. And we really wanted to see the number of those well-being check-ins between the managers and their team to go up. Second, we confirmed that better well-being drives better performance. We all hear about it, but it was great that our survey could actually demonstrate that. So colleagues in their top 20% for well-being were more productive, likely to recommend Entain as a great place to work, and less likely to leave. Third, we learned that both physical and mental health needed a boost. And finally, we were able to identify some of the biggest influences of well-being, which were resilience, a sense of purpose, and job enjoyment. So the question is, what did we do with all of that? Well, actually looking back, I would say, what did we not do? That year, me and my boss really rolled up our sleeves and we got to work. So we took a hard look at our program, hard look at our strategy, and from our survey results, we really knew that the mental health support is what our people needed. With a traditional EAP who we were partnered with, there is a long triage process. I know, Becky, you touched on this. And what didn't sit well with us is that people would pluck up the courage to go and reach out to EAP, but then be told that they didn't have access to the supporting therapy available. So we didn't feel that was right. When people need the support, we need to give them the support. So it became clear we needed a refresh. So we also recognized that having a holistic strategy, we needed a holistic partner. And that's why Unmind really stood out for us. Their approach takes the whole organization, supporting people at the individual, the manager, and that whole organizational level. So we did make the bold move. We said goodbye to some of our existing partnerships. But we have been with Unmind since 2020. We just wanted to expand to the other suites that they offered, which was the therapy. So the engagement spoke for itself. So once we rolled out Unmind Talk, we saw a 500% increase in signups within 3 months of launching that therapy service. Registration jumped from 15 to around 23% in 6 months. And we've seen an upward trend with the Unmind AI coaching with almost 1,500 users in the last 15 months and over 4,500 conversations. So with Unmind Talk, our colleagues constantly tell us how high quality the therapy and coaching sessions are. And the data supports that feedback. So we saw a 28% reduction in anxiety symptoms and 27% reduction in low mood and depression over 7 or more sessions. So this really highlights the connection between well-being and performance. When our people feel mentally healthier, they perform better. And that's where we really see the value of investing in well-being at Entain. It's not just the right thing to do, it actually delivers genuine return. The Unmind Science team has been able to kind of validate those results to demonstrate that ROI piece. We also receive aggregated and anonymized insights about the key themes that's happening across Unmind Talk and coaching. And this information helps us understand where our people need more help so we can keep evolving our initiatives and our programs. From my perspective, supporting employees is literally just one piece of the puzzle. Manager support also comes into focus too. That's why we introduced Unmind's mental health training for managers alongside launching the therapy. So we found that managers that were doing the training, we had around 212 managers complete with 1,100 sessions and 51% focused on work-related issues alongside that training. So really helpful. So this dual approach, combining the training with the personal support, equips managers to perform at their best, support their teams effectively, and drive some real business impact there. So following the training and the rollout of the therapy support, of course, we want to measure the impact alongside that. So through our annual global survey, we asked a simple but powerful question. My manager cares about my well-being. Before the training, back in 2022, 69% of colleagues agreed with that statement. After training and after rolling out Unmind Talk in 2025, that number had risen to 88%. So that is a significant shift, and it really highlights how equipping our managers with the right support can transform how people feel at work. So to wrap up from me, I want to share a few reflections and maybe a bit of advice. First, I would start by saying well-being and performance aren't separate. They are two sides of the same coin. When people feel supported, psychologically safe, and have access to the right help when they need it, they just don't feel better. They perform better. We've seen it firsthand at Entain. This journey wasn't only just fulfilling a duty of care, though of course that remains really essential. It was also about recognizing that investing in well-being is a strategic business decision that drives performance and long-term sustainability. So, and I think that's really a powerful message to leave you with today. Well-being isn't just the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do.
Thank you so much, Jessica. And again, I could sit here all day and talk about it, but I'm sure they want to hear a firsthand user experience. So thank you so much. And it's an absolute pleasure, an honor to see kind of the impact we've had together. And we're really excited for the journey ahead. So thanks again for joining. And now I'd like to open the floor. I know we have questions that came through in the chat. So as they continue coming in, Becky, with the last few minutes, do you want to address the ones that came into the chat?
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, it was so good to hear, Jess, by the way. It's just lovely to hear the impact that everything that we're doing has. So really great to hear. Yeah, let's look at some of these questions. So someone has asked, beyond anxiety, what other mental health challenges can therapy and coaching help with? Yeah, I mean everything. So the whole array of mental health challenges that people experience, from stress to burnout to different types of anxiety disorders, trauma, as well as relationship issues, challenges at work, as well as thinking about the preventative element of therapy and coaching. So you don't necessarily have to have a challenge to access therapy and coaching or find it useful. It could be you want to can think about your career path and your career development and what the next steps might be if you want to train as a manager. Or you might just want to kind of think about how can I have a bit more satisfaction and joy in my life. So yeah, therapy and coaching is really can be a helpful tool for so many people for lots of different challenges and for personal growth. Um, yeah, I've answered that one. Next one, yeah, good question. What if you don't enjoy the person you chose? Can you easily switch? Absolutely. It can be really hard choosing from that long list of practitioners that we have available. It's great that we have the matching tool to help recommend practitioners who might be best placed to work with you. But of course, sometimes the person we choose we don't quite gel with, and it's really important that you have a strong relationship with someone and you feel quite safe and you're able to open up and talk to them and feel that they're really helping you. And of course, if you don't feel you've got that match, then yes, you can switch. You can simply go back onto the platform, look through the list, and choose a different practitioner and start working with them. And it can be really useful when you choose your new practitioner to say, look, these are the things that I didn't find particularly helpful with the last person, and this is kind of what I'm looking for. Is this something you can help with or not, to ensure that you get that match? And of course, on the platform, you've got all of the different filters that you can choose to help you with that. So finding someone who is specialist in the challenges that you're facing, perhaps, or the approach that you want. Okay, I've got another question here. Are sessions included with my work membership, or do I have to pay separately? And how many sessions do I get? So, as an organization, you will choose how many sessions employees are able to have. So, as an employee, that will depend on your work organization. But of course, if you need further sessions after that, then there is an option where you can continue to see that practitioner and pay yourself. So there's a self-pay option afterwards if you want more sessions too. So we want to allow people to work with a practitioner for as long as they feel is important, but hopefully your organization covers those sessions too. Um, Marco, I'm going to pass this one to you. What's the average size of the companies you work with? And is this a good fit for smaller organizations?
Yeah, it's a great question. And so typically, so we work in the enterprise space. That being said, anywhere from 1,000 employees and up. But what Unmind realizes is that the smaller organizations are the ones that have a difficult time finding resources for mental health and well-being support. So we pride ourselves on not having a typical size or a minimum requirement. We work, and I'm actually working with a client now that's around 100 lives, because again, they've searched far and wide for some support, and a lot of the other vendors in the space solely focus on the large enterprise or strategic clients. I don't mind if you're bought into the mission and understand that this is a true partnership. And if you, no matter what resource it is that you offer your team and your company, if it's not a partnership and you don't kind of put the work in alongside of us to drive that, it's not going to work. So that's our only prerequisite is if you see this as a true partnership, you're bought into our strategy and understanding kind of our whole organization approach, there's no limit in the organizations that will work alongside. Let's see. And I know I believe we're at time, but maybe we have enough for one more question. How do you know that people are out due to anxiety or other mental health related issues and therefore know that Unmind Talk has helped reduce these absences? We cannot ask the reasons as to why someone is out on sick leave, so difficult to have data in this regard. Becky, are you able to speak to that?
Yeah, I can take that one. So, um, before each therapy or coaching session, we ask people a number of questions, as I touched upon with our clinical measures, but also we ask them about absenteeism and presenteeism. So, we will ask people how many hours they've had absent from work that week. And then we're able to track that, obviously, the impact of that to see whether that reduces through the therapy and coaching sessions that they have. So that is anonymized data that we then report back to the organization. So we don't share everything is confidential through our therapy and coaching service. So we don't share data about specific individuals, but we're able to aggregate that and to provide the data to you based on that.
Perfect. And we have 4 more minutes, so maybe one other one, the one Katya's question about how Unmind differentiates between coaching and therapy. Becky, if you want to take that one.
Yeah, this is a big question. I did recently a webinar that spent ages talking about this. So within my quick bit of time here, typically therapy will help people who are struggling with emotional challenges and might be kind of mental health concerns, whereas our coaching is typically for people around professional and personal development. So that's quite future focused and thinking about skills to help them maybe manage things better in life or at work. We have coaches, we have leadership coaches, executive coaches, performance coaches, and then I said a whole range of different therapists cover therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, counseling, psychodynamic therapy. There's lots of range there. And we also have a number of articles to help people understand, okay, which do I need here? Is it therapy? Is it coaching? And of course, sometimes you don't know, and that's okay. And that's where you can book with a practitioner, talk about what you're looking for. And of course, as Marco showed, in each of the practitioner profiles or bios, it explains the practitioner will talk about what their skill set is, what they specialize in, and hopefully you'll be able to see, okay, that resonates with me. And if you book with a practitioner and they say, oh, actually, I think maybe coaching, you'd benefit more from coaching, you'd benefit more from therapy, then you'll be able to be signposted to somebody else. So my short answer.
Becky. And last question that I'll include in my wrap up was where can I see more details on cost to become a member and all the other services available? We'll include in the follow up a link to have a conversation with myself or any of the other Unmind team members to book a full demo of the Unmind platform, and then we can understand a little bit more about your organization and number of employees and pricing. The one thing I always say about pricing is we never let pricing get in the way of us supporting an organization that truly cares. We are flexible and creative and don't want that to be an obstacle for you. So please feel free to reach out, and we'll definitely schedule that conversation. But to wrap up, I'd like to thank you all sincerely for spending time with us today. And I want to leave you all with a final note of gratitude for the incredible effort and work you put in every single day. The work of building psychologically safe, mentally healthy, and high-performing cultures is the single most valuable investment any organization can make. And we're truly proud to support you all in that mission. So please keep up the great work. Wishing you all a wonderful rest of your days, and hopefully we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Bye.